The fist connected with bone. Blood sprayed across concrete. Tyler Henderson, captain of the football team, lay sprawled on the asphalt, his perfect nose now crooked and gushing red. But 3 hours ago, Emma Mitchell had been just another invisible girl eating lunch alone. She sat in the corner of Westfield High's cafeteria, calculus textbook propped against her water bottle, trying to shrink into the plastic chair. The fluorescent lights hummed above, casting harsh shadows on her pale face. Her brown hair fell like a curtain, shielding her from the world. Or so she hoped. Heavy footsteps approached. The smell of cologne mixed with sweat filled her nostrils. Emma's fingers tightened on her pencil. "Still playing Ghost." "Mitchell," Tyler's voice boomed above her. She didn't look up. Never look up. That was the rule. The pencil moved across her notebook, solving for X. Though the numbers blurred together, a hand slammed on her table. Her water bottle tipped, rolling toward the edge. She caught it just in time. "I'm talking to you." Tyler leaned down, his breath hot against her ear. Behind him, Connor Williams held up his phone, the camera's red light blinking. Marcus Thompson and Jake Rodriguez flanked them, grinning like hyenas who'd found wounded prey. Before I continue with Emma's story, I want to take a moment to thank you for being here. If this story resonates with you, if you've ever felt powerless or alone, please consider leaving a comment below. Share your thoughts, your experiences, or simply where you're watching from. Every interaction helps these stories reach someone who might need to hear them today. And if you want to support the creation of more stories like Emma's, stories that shine light in dark places, you can hit the thanks button below this video. Your generosity, no matter how small, helps me dedicate more time to crafting narratives that matter, that inspire, that remind us all of our hidden strength. Thank you for being part of this community. Now, let's return to that cafeteria, where Emma's world is about to change forever. Emma's eyes stayed on her textbook. The quadratic formula stared back at her, familiar and safe. "Look at me when I'm talking to you," Tyler growled. She turned the page. Just another minute. The bell would ring in another minute. Chocolate milk exploded across her notebook. The cold liquid soaked through pages of careful notes, drowning weeks of work in brown sludge. Laughter erupted around them. Someone started chanting, "Ghost girl, ghost girl." Emma's hands trembled as she watched the milk pool around her textbook. 2 years of this, 730 days of keeping her head down, of being invisible, of following her father's words. "Never start a fight, Em, but if they leave you no choice..." "Oops." Tyler's grin stretched wide. "Guess you'll have to look up now, won't you?" She closed her ruined textbook slowly, deliberately, when she finally raised her eyes. Tyler took a small step back. Something flickered in her gaze, just for a second. Then it was gone, replaced by the familiar emptiness. "There she is." Connor zoomed in with his phone. "The mouse finally shows her face." Emma gathered her destroyed books, milk dripping onto her jeans. She stood, shouldering her backpack. Tyler blocked her path. "Where are you going?" "We're not done." She stepped to the left. He mirrored her. "Right." He followed. "Please move," she whispered. "What was that?" "Speak up, mouse." The cafeteria had gone quiet. 200 students watched, waiting. Some had their phones out now, hoping to catch whatever came next. Emma looked at the door 20 feet away. 20 feet of open ground with Tyler Henderson standing in the middle, like a brick wall in a Letterman jacket. I said, her voice carried despite its softness, "Please, move." Tyler laughed. It wasn't a kind sound. "Make me." For a moment, nobody breathed. Emma's fingers flexed at her sides, a movement so small only someone watching closely would notice. But then she ducked her head again, stepped around Tyler's left side, and walked toward the exit. Her sneakers squelched with each step, milk seeping through the canvas. "That's what I thought," Tyler called after her. "Run away, little mouse. Just like always." The cafeteria doors swung shut behind her. In the hallway, Emma pressed her back against the lockers and closed her eyes. Her hands still shook, but not from fear, from rage. 2 years. It started the night of the homecoming dance sophomore year. Tyler had asked her in front of the whole school during assembly. He'd been different then. Cockier maybe, but not cruel. Not yet. "Emma Mitchell," he'd announced into the microphone, "will you go to homecoming with me?" The auditorium had erupted in cheers and whistles. Girls whispered enviously. Tyler Henderson, star quarterback even as a sophomore, had chosen her. The quiet girl who ate lunch alone and spent free periods in the art room. Emma had stood slowly, aware of hundreds of eyes on her. Tyler's smile had been confident, assured. He'd already assumed her answer. "No," she'd said clearly. "Thank you, but no." The auditorium fell silent. Tyler's smile froze, then crumbled. His face went from confusion to disbelief to something darker. "What?" He'd laughed nervously. "You're joking." "I'm not." Emma had sat back down, opened her book, and pretended to read while her heart hammered against her ribs. That was the day she'd become a target. The harassment started small. Bumps in the hallway, books knocked from her hands, whispered insults. But over 2 years, it had evolved into something methodical, almost artistic in its cruelty. Tyler had made destroying Emma Mitchell his personal project. Now, standing in the empty hallway with milk-soaked clothes, Emma pulled out her phone. The lock screen showed a photo of her and her father, both wearing boxing gloves, both grinning at the camera. He'd taken it 6 months before deployment. 3 months before the IED changed everything. "You're stronger than you know." "Em," he'd said that last morning, coffee mug in one hand, her training schedule in the other. But strength isn't about how hard you can hit. It's about knowing when to. She'd been 11 then, now at 17. She understood what he meant. Every morning at 5 a.m., she honored his memory in their garage, working the heavy bag until her knuckles bled through the wraps. 8 years of training, 8 years of discipline, 8 years of holding back while Tyler Henderson and his crew made her life hell. The art room door opened with a soft click. Mrs. Patterson looked up from her desk, took in Emma's milk-stained clothes, and sighed. Again, Emma nodded, setting her backpack on the paint-splattered table. "You could report them. You know, I'd support you." "It would only make things worse." Emma pulled out her art supplies, careful to avoid the wet spots. "May I work on my project?" Mrs. Patterson gestured to Emma's easel in the corner. "Of course. The memorial exhibition is next month. How's it coming?" Emma unveiled the canvas. Her father's face stared back, captured in photorealistic detail. Every line, every shadow had been placed with obsessive care. His eyes held that mix of strength and kindness she missed every single day. "It's beautiful, Emma. He'd be so proud." Emma picked up her brush, losing herself in the work. Each stroke brought him back a little more. In here, with the smell of oil paint and the quiet scratch of brush on canvas. She could pretend things were different, that he was just deployed again, that he'd walk through the door any minute with that crooked grin and ask about her homework. Time dissolved. The lunch bell had long since rung, but Mrs. Patterson wrote her a pass without Emma having to ask. This was their unspoken agreement. When things got bad, Emma could hide here. By the time the final bell rang, she'd added the last details to his uniform. The painting was nearly finished. One more session, and it would be ready for the exhibition. Emma packed up carefully, waiting until the hallways emptied before venturing out. The parking lot would be mostly clear by now. She could make it to her car without incident. The October air bit through her still damp clothes. The parking lot stretched before her, a vast expanse of cracked asphalt and faded yellow lines. Her beat-up Honda Civic sat in the far corner, right where she'd left it this morning. She was halfway there when she heard them. "Thought you could hide all day." Tyler's voice echoed off the concrete walls. Emma's step faltered. They emerged from behind a van like predators who had been lying in wait. Tyler led the pack, his Letterman jacket bright red in the dying sunlight. Connor already had his phone out. Marcus cracked his knuckles. Jake spun his car keys around one finger. "We need to talk about this morning," Tyler said, moving to block her path to the car. "You disrespected me, again." Emma took a step back. They spread out, forming a loose semicircle. The building was behind her now, walls on two sides. Classic boxing mistake. Letting yourself get cornered. Her father's voice whispered in her head, "Always leave yourself an out, Em." "I have to go," she said quietly. "No." Tyler stepped closer. "You don't get to walk away anymore. 2 years. I've tried to teach you respect. 2 years. You've acted like you're better than everyone. I just want to be left alone." Connor laughed, the sound sharp and mean. "Hear that, guys? Princess wants to be left alone." "Then she shouldn't have humiliated me," Tyler said. His face had gone red, veins standing out on his neck. "You think you can reject me in front of the whole school and just walk away? You think you're too good for me?" Emma's backpack slipped from her shoulder. She let it fall, eyes tracking the distance between them. 15 feet to her car, 4 bodies in the way. "Please," she tried one more time, "just let me go." "Or what?" Tyler took another step. Now only 6 feet separated them. "You gonna run to the principal, cry to mommy? Oh, wait." His lips curved in a cruel smile. "You don't have one of those either, do you?" The words hit harder than any punch. Emma's mother had left when she was 3, just packed up and vanished, leaving her father to raise a daughter alone. The whole school knew. Tyler knew exactly where to aim. "At least I know why she left." Tyler continued, "Who'd want to stick around for a pathetic little mouse like you?" Emma's hands curled into fists. "No, not yet." She forced them open, forced herself to breathe. "Nothing to say." Tyler was close enough now that she could smell the protein shake on his breath. "Come on, ghost girl. Show us you're actually alive." He shoved her shoulder. Not hard, just enough to make her stumble back. Her spine hit the concrete wall. "There we go," Connor said, adjusting his phone angle. "This is gonna be epic." "Delete the video," Emma said. Her voice sounded strange, even to her own ears, flat, emotionless. "Or what?" Tyler laughed. "You gonna make me—" He shoved her again. This time her backpack fell open, spilling its contents across the asphalt. Books, pencils, and her art portfolio scattered. The wind caught some loose sketches, sending them dancing across the parking lot. "Ooh, what's this?" Jake snatched one of the papers before Emma could move. "More art project stuff." He held up a sketch. Another portrait of her father, this one showing him in his boxing gear. Jake whistled low. "Daddy was a fighter. Huh, too bad he didn't teach his little girl anything useful." "Give it back." Emma's voice had dropped to barely above a whisper. "Make me." Jake echoed Tyler's earlier challenge. Tyler grabbed another sketch from the ground. This one showed her father in his marine dress blues, medals gleaming on his chest. "Oh, this is precious," Tyler said, drawing pictures of dead Daddy. "What, you think he's going to come save you?" Something shifted in Emma's chest. A door she'd kept locked for 2 years began to crack open. "Give them back." "Listen to that," Marcus laughed. "Mouse is trying to squeak." Tyler held the sketch up, examining it with mock interest. "You know what, this is actually pretty good. Be a shame if something happened to it." His hands moved in slow motion. Emma watched as he gripped both sides of the paper. The sound of tearing filled the air, each rip echoing in the empty parking lot. "Stop!" The word came out as half plea, half warning. Tyler let the pieces flutter to the ground. "What else we got?" Connor kicked the portfolio, sending more artwork flying. Emma dropped to her knees, scrambling to gather the sketches. Tyler's foot came down on her hand, not hard enough to break bones, but enough to pin her in place. "Look at me," he commanded. Emma's eyes traveled up slowly, past his designer sneakers, past his custom-fit jeans, past the Letterman jacket with its collection of pins and patches, until finally, she met his gaze. What Tyler saw there made him take an involuntary step back, releasing her hand. "There's something wrong with you," he said, but uncertainty had crept into his voice. Emma stood slowly, a sketch clutched in each hand. One showed her father teaching her to throw a jab. The other captured him mid-laugh, head thrown back, joy radiating from every line. "Yes," she agreed quietly. "There is." She folded the sketches carefully, placing them in her pocket. Then she bent to collect the rest of her scattered work. The boys watched, momentarily unsure. "We're not done," Tyler said, recovering his composure. "You don't get to—" Emma's hand found the finished painting, the one she'd worked on for 3 months, the one meant for the memorial exhibition. Tyler saw it at the same time. "No," Emma said, clutching it to her chest. "Oh, yes?" Tyler's grin returned full force. "That's the one, isn't it? The special one." He lunged for it. Emma twisted away, but Marcus grabbed her arms from behind. Jake joined in, helping to pry the canvas from her grip. "Don't!" Emma's composure finally cracked. "Please, it's for the exhibition. It's all I have left of him." Tyler wrenched the painting free. He held it up, examining her father's painted face. "All you have left?" He laughed. "That's pathetic. It's just paint and canvas, like he was just meat and bones." He dropped the painting face up on the asphalt. Emma struggled against Marcus's grip, but he held firm. "Want to know something?" Tyler positioned his foot over the canvas. "My dad says your father died because he was stupid. Said only idiots sign up to get blown up in some desert." The door in Emma's chest burst wide open. Tyler's foot came down on the painting. The canvas bent, but didn't break. He stomped again, harder. The wooden frame cracked. Paint smeared under his soul. Her father's face distorting into something unrecognizable. "How's that feel?" Tyler ground his heel into the ruined portrait. Hurts, doesn't it? Now you know how I felt when you humiliated me. Emma had gone completely still in Marcus's grip. Her breathing changed, becoming deep and rhythmic. Her eyes never left the destroyed painting. Let her go, Tyler said. Let her see it up close. Marcus released her arms. Emma dropped to her knees beside the ruined canvas. Her fingers traced the smeared paint, the torn sections where Tyler's shoe had punched through. A drop of water hit the painting. Then another. She was crying, but silently, without sound or movement beyond the tears. Oh, Mouse is sad. Connor zoomed in on her face. This is pure gold. Get up, Tyler commanded. When she didn't move, he grabbed her arm, hauling her to her feet. I said get up. He shoved her back against the wall, harder this time, her head connected with concrete, stars exploding across her vision. You're going to learn respect, Tyler said, pressing close. His hand gripped her throat. Not squeezing yet, just holding. A threat. One way or another. Emma's eyes fluttered closed. Behind her lids, she saw her father's garage gym. Saw herself at 9 years old, fists wrapped, stance wide. Why do we train? To be strong. No, we train for discipline, for control. For the moment when walking away isn't an option anymore. Her eyes opened. Tyler was still talking, but she didn't hear the words. Her focus had shifted to something beyond him, beyond the parking lot, beyond everything except the memory of her father's voice. When that moment comes, you'll know. And when you know, you don't stop until it's over, she whispered. What? Tyler leaned closer. What did you say? Emma's breathing had settled into a rhythm she'd practiced 10,000 times. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Her weight shifted, so subtle the boys didn't notice. Her hands, which had been limp at her sides, slowly curled into perfect fists. Thumb outside, wrist straight. Shoulders loose. Connor noticed first. Yo! Tyler! But Tyler wasn't listening. He was still talking, still threatening, his hand still on her throat. He didn't see how Emma's tears had stopped. Didn't notice how her eyes had gone from broken to something else entirely. And if you ever disrespect me again, I'll make sure everyone knows what a pathetic little... Emma moved. The uppercut came from below, invisible until it connected. Tyler's teeth clicked together with a sound like breaking pottery. His head snapped back, eyes rolling white, spit and blood arcing through the October air. For one perfect second, nobody moved. Tyler stood frozen, swaying on his feet like a tree deciding which way to fall. Connor's phone captured everything in crystal clarity. The shock on Tyler's face, the way his legs went rubbery, the precise moment his brain caught up with what just happened. Then Emma moved again, left hook to the ribs. The breath exploded from Tyler's lungs, right cross to the jaw. His head whipped sideways, more blood spraying from his mouth. She wasn't done. 8 years of training poured out in a symphony of violence. Every morning in that garage, every combination on the heavy bag, every lesson her father had drilled into her muscle memory. Holy shit! Marcus stepped back, releasing his grip on air where Emma had been. She knows how to... Tyler tried to swing, a wild haymaker born of desperation and damaged pride. Emma slipped under it like water, his fist whistling over her head. Her counter came immediate and brutal, a perfect body shot to his liver. Tyler folded. His face went from red to white to green in the span of heartbeats. The kind of pain that shuts down higher thinking, that reduces a person to animal instinct. He dropped to one knee, gagging. "Get her!" Jake shouted, but his feet stayed planted. "Someone stop her!" Emma circled Tyler like her father had taught her, light on her feet, hands up, chin tucked. The quiet girl from the cafeteria was gone. In her place stood someone who'd been hiding for 2 years, waiting for this exact moment. Tyler struggled to his feet, one hand pressed to his ribs. His perfect face was already swelling, left eye beginning to close. Blood ran from his nose in twin streams, staining his letterman jacket. You hit me," he gasped, disbelief coloring every word. Emma didn't respond. She just waited, patient as stone. Tyler charged, abandoning any pretense of technique. He bull-rushed her, counting on size and strength. She pivoted, stuck out a foot. Physics did the rest. Tyler's momentum carried him face first into the asphalt. The impact was wet and meaty. When he pushed himself up, gravel was embedded in his cheek. "Stop recording!" he screamed at Connor. "Turn it off!" But Connor kept filming, hypnotized by the impossible scene. The mouse had become a lion, and they were all trapped in her den. Tyler made it to his knees. Emma stood over him, shadow falling across his bloodied face. For a moment, she saw not the bully who'd tormented her, but a broken boy who'd never been told no, who'd been raised to believe the world owed him everything. "Please." Tyler whimpered. The word came out thick through split lips. "I'm sorry. I'm sorry." "Okay." Emma looked at the ruined painting, at her father's face smeared across asphalt, at 2 years of silence and suffering. Her fist cocked back. Then she heard it, her father's voice, clear as church bells. "Strength isn't about how hard you can hit, Em. It's about knowing when to stop." Her hand uncurled. She stepped back, breathing hard but controlled. Tyler remained on his knees, sobbing now, blood and tears mixing on his face. "It's over," Emma said quietly. She turned to Connor, who lowered his phone instinctively. "All of it. No more." She walked to her scattered belongings, gathering them with steady hands. The ruined painting she lifted carefully, cradling it like a wounded bird. Even destroyed, it was precious. "You're done at this school," Tyler tried to shout, but it came out as more of a wet gurgle. "My dad will sue. You'll be expelled. You're going home." Emma finished. She shouldered her backpack, tucked the painting under one arm. "And so are you. Eventually." Marcus and Jake finally moved, rushing to help Tyler stand. He pushed them away, pride warring with pain. When he finally made it upright, he swayed dangerously. "This isn't over," he promised, spitting blood. Emma paused at her car door. When she looked back, all 4 boys flinched. "Yes," she said simply. "It is." The Honda started on the 3rd try. She drove away slowly, carefully, leaving 4 shocked boys in a parking lot painted with blood and disbelief. Dylan Chen waited until Emma's taillights disappeared before stepping out from behind his own car. He'd been there the whole time. Phone angled perfectly to capture everything. Unlike Connor's shaky footage, Dylan's was steady, professional. He'd even caught the 2 years of context leading up to this moment. "Time for the truth," he muttered, already uploading to every platform he could think of. The video exploded across social media like wildfire in August. Within an hour, it had 10,000 views. By midnight, over 1 million. The title was simple: Bully destroys girl's memorial painting of dead father, gets instant karma. But Dylan had been smart. He'd edited insecurity footage from previous incidents. Emma getting shoved into lockers, milk poured on her head, books scattered downstairs. 2 years of systematic abuse condensed into a damning 3-minute introduction before the main event. Comments flooded in by the thousands. She showed more restraint than I would have. Bro really thought he could stomp on her dead dad's picture and walk away. The way she circled him like a shark. Poetry. Find this girl and give her a medal. By morning, news outlets had picked it up. Texas teen defends father's memory in shocking parking lot confrontation. The painting, that ruined portrait of a Marine who'd given everything, became a symbol. Emma's tears over the destroyed canvas, juxtaposed with Tyler's bloody face, told a story that needed no words. Tyler's parents arrived at Westfield High at 7 a.m. sharp, lawyers in tow. They marched into Principal Morrison's office, demanding justice, threatening lawsuits, promising to destroy Emma Mitchell's future. Principal Morrison turned his computer screen toward them. The video played in damning detail. Tyler Sr. watched his son stomp on a memorial painting, watched him grab a girl by the throat, watched him take beating after beating because he couldn't accept the word no. Your son has been suspended pending expulsion hearings, Morrison said calmly. I'd suggest you focus on keeping him out of jail rather than threatening his victim. Victim! Tyler's mother shrieked. Look at his face! She broke his nose! After 2 years of documented harassment, after he destroyed her property, after he physically assaulted her. Morrison pulled out a thick folder. We've had complaints, teachers who witnessed incidents, students who came forward after seeing the video. Your son is lucky Miss Mitchell only broke his nose. The football team held an emergency meeting that afternoon. Chase Williams, the defensive captain, stood at the front of the locker room. Tyler's done, he announced. We all knew what he was doing to that girl. We all stayed quiet. That ends now. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the team. Some looked ashamed, others relieved. Jake and Marcus sat in the back, sporting their own bruises from where teammates had expressed their opinions physically. She could have killed him, someone said. Did you see that uppercut? She could have, but didn't, Chase replied. That's the difference between strength and cruelty. Tyler never learned that. Maybe now he will. Emma didn't come to school for 3 days. When she finally returned, the hallways parted like the Red Sea. Students stared, but differently now, not with pity or dismissal, but something approaching awe. She found her locker decorated with paper flowers. Notes were taped to every surface. Thank you for standing up. You gave me courage. My dad was Army. He would have been proud. Emma read each one, tears threatening again. At the bottom of the pile was a new canvas and a set of professional oil paints. The note attached read, "For when you're ready to paint him again, the art club." Mrs. Patterson was waiting in the art room, tissues ready. How are you holding up? Emma paused, considering. I'm different. Yeah, her teacher agreed. You are. They sat in comfortable silence while Emma unpacked the new supplies. Finally, she spoke again. I couldn't let him destroy everything. Not the painting, not what it meant. You did what you had to do. No one blames you. I blame me. Emma said quietly. For waiting so long. For letting it get that far. Other kids were suffering too. Staying quiet like me. I could have helped them sooner. Mrs. Patterson squeezed her shoulder. You help them now. That's what matters. The cafeteria at lunch was a minefield of attention. Emma headed for her usual corner table, but found it occupied. 30 students sat there and at surrounding tables, leaving one chair open. Is this okay? Asked Sarah Kim, a sophomore who'd been Tyler's target last year. We thought maybe you wouldn't want to eat alone anymore. Emma sank into the chair. Overwhelmed, conversations flowed around her, including her without demanding she perform, for the first time in 2 years. Lunch felt like a meal instead of a survival exercise. Connor Williams found her after school. He looked terrible, pale, bags under his eyes, hands shaking. I'm sorry, he blurted. I'm so sorry. I should have stopped him, should have said something. I was scared of becoming a target too. Emma studied him for a long moment. Delete the videos. All of them. Every cruel thing you recorded. Already done. Wiped everything. He pulled out his phone, showing empty folders. I'm testifying at Tyler's hearing. About everything. Good, Emma said, and meant it. That evening, she stood in her garage, wrapping her hands with practiced ease. The heavy bag waited, patient as always, but for the first time in years. She didn't see Tyler's face when she struck it. Didn't imagine revenge or retribution, just movement, clean and precise, honoring her father's teachings. A knock interrupted her rhythm. Her aunt stood in the doorway, eyes red. I saw the video, she said simply. Your dad, he would have been so proud. Not of the fighting, of the restraint, of knowing when to stop. Emma pulled her into a hug, both of them crying now. Not from sadness, but from release. 2 years of silence had broken like a dam, and the flood was cleansing. The memorial exhibition arrived 2 weeks later. Emma stood before a new painting, this one showing her father not in uniform or boxing gear, but in his favorite ratty t-shirt, making pancakes on a Sunday morning. His smile lit up the canvas, warm and real, and forever preserved. Miss Mitchell. A woman approached, press badge visible. I'm Rebecca Torres from Channel 9. Could we talk about your story? Emma had turned down every interview request. But something in this woman's eyes, a shared understanding, made her pause. Not about the fight, Emma said firmly. That's not what matters. Then what does, Emma gestured to the painting. He taught me to be strong, but more importantly, he taught me when to use that strength. Tyler took 2 years from me. I won't give him any more time. What's next for you? Emma smiled, the expression transforming her face. I'm starting a self-defense club for kids like me. Kids who need to know they're not alone, that they have power, but also when and how to use it. The reporter scribbled notes. And Tyler's facing his consequences. That's justice working, not revenge. I hope he learns. I hope he grows. But that's his journey now, not mine. The exhibition was a success. Emma's painting sold for enough to fund the Self-Defense Club for a full year. She stood in the gallery, surrounded by her father's memory and newfound friends, finally understanding what he'd tried to teach her. Strength wasn't about the punch that dropped Tyler Henderson in a parking lot. It was about surviving 2 years of hell with her humanity intact. It was about stopping when she could have continued. It was about using her story to help others find their own power. 6 months later. Westfield High had the lowest bullying rates in the district. Emma's club had 40 members and a waiting list. She taught them her father's lessons: discipline, control, and most importantly, compassion. Tyler never returned to school. His family moved away, seeking a fresh start where the video hadn't made him infamous. Emma hoped he found it. Hope he learned that real strength came not from taking others down, but from lifting them up. She kept one photo from that day, not of the fight or the aftermath, but of the ruined painting. A reminder that sometimes beautiful things had to be destroyed for something better to grow in their place. Her father's legacy lived not in oil on canvas, but in every kid who walked a little taller, spoke a little louder, knowing they weren't alone. The quiet girl in the corner had found her voice, and she used it to make sure no one else had to suffer in silence. Standing in the garage one evening, teaching a nervous freshman how to throw a proper jab, Emma felt her father's presence, not in sadness or loss, but in purpose, in the passing on of hard-won wisdom. "Remember," she told the girl, echoing words spoken to her years ago, "we don't train to hurt others. We train so we never have to. But if that moment comes, we'll be ready," the girl finished, understanding dawning in her eyes. Emma smiled. Her father would have been proud. The mouse had never really existed. There had only been a girl, grieving and growing, waiting for the world to see her true face. Now they had, and she would make sure others could show theirs too, without needing to throw a single punch. That was real strength. That was her father's true gift. That was Emma Mitchell's revolution, fought not with fists, but with the courage to say no more and mean it. The heavy bag swayed gently in the evening air, waiting for the next student, the next lesson, the next chance to transform pain into power. And Emma was ready to teach them all. 3 years later, Emma Mitchell stood at the podium of Westfield High's graduation ceremony. Valedictorian, full scholarship to Texas State University. The girl who'd once eaten alone now looked out at hundreds of faces. Many she'd helped find their own strength. "We're taught to be silent," she began, her voice carrying across the football field, "to endure, to not make waves, but silence protects the wrong people." In the audience, Mrs. Patterson wiped away tears. Principal Morrison nodded approvingly. Dylan Chen, now a documentary filmmaker, captured every word. 3 years ago, I learned that strength isn't about violence. It's about breaking the silence. It's about standing up, not just for yourself, but for those who can't yet stand. She found her aunt in the crowd, holding a photo of her father. He would have been 42 today. "My dad once told me that courage is contagious. When one person stands up, others find their feet. When one voice speaks, others find their words." Emma paused, scanning the faces of her self-defense club members. "You all proved him right." The statistics spoke for themselves. Bullying incidents down 80%. Tyler's old crew had either reformed or transferred. The culture had shifted, cell by cell, until Westfield became known not for its football team, but for its compassion. To those still finding their voice, Emma continued, "Know this: your silence is not weakness. Your patience is not cowardice. You're waiting for your moment. And when it comes, you'll know, and when you act, we'll be standing with you." The applause started before she finished, building like thunder. But Emma wasn't done. "I want to tell you about Tyler Henderson." The crowd quieted. surprised. Nobody had spoken that name publicly in years. Last month, he sent me a letter. He's in community college now, studying addiction counseling. He volunteers at a youth center, teaching kids better ways to handle anger. He asked my forgiveness. Murmurs rippled through the audience. I wrote back one word already. Emma let that sink in, because holding on to anger is like holding a hot coal. You're only burning yourself. Tyler was a hurt kid hurting others. Now he's a healing adult, helping others heal. That's growth. That's redemption. That's what we should celebrate. She folded her speech, looking directly at the freshman section. Your journey starts now. Some days, you'll be the one standing up. Other days, you'll be the one lifting someone else. Both matter. Both take courage. Both change the world. As she walked off stage, the standing ovation felt like waves crashing over her, but Emma barely noticed. Her eyes were fixed on the small table near the stage, where her father's portrait sat surrounded by flowers. The new one, painted with love instead of grief, showing him as she chose to remember. Laughing, alive, eternal, later. At the reception, a freshman approached nervously. Miss Mitchell, I mean. Emma, kids at my middle school pick on my brother. He's autistic. They don't hit him. But the words, she trailed off, eyes wet. The heavy bag swayed gently, as if nodding agreement. Emma Mitchell had learned to fight in this garage. But more importantly, she'd learned when not to. That October day in the parking lot hadn't been her greatest victory. Every day since, choosing healing over hatred had been. The mouse that roared had become a lighthouse, guiding others through their storms. And somewhere, her father was smiling.